Hello everyone, how's everyone doing? Hopefully you can hear me. Happy Friday to everyone. If you can access the chat, you can go ahead and write where you are logging in from. That would be great. So where did you hear about this session or live stream? And also, where are you logging in from? I'm just trying to find some stuff over here. Let me see. Just gonna to go through it. Okay, let's see. Okay, what is today? Today is September 13th. Okay, let me fix some stuff. Download 29. Okay, let me check. Pittsburgh, so Andre Freeman is from Pittsburgh. Great. All right. So welcome to Ask Me Anything and subscriber notification. So probably YouTube subscriber. Okay, that's good. So I'm logging in from Houston, Texas. Adrian Pedra. Hello everyone from Mexico. Okay, great. I think a couple of years ago, maybe last, no, 2 years back, I visited Mexico City with my family. Yeah, Mexico City. It was a great experience. And now we are planning to go to Guadalajara, but not sure at this particular moment. I would definitely like to go there, visit, eat food, but it's still planning. Let's see. Kenneth is logging in from Ghana. Very nice. Then we have Gabriel. Okay. So I'm located in Houston, Texas. Weather over here now, it's kind of getting decent. At least you can go outside. Summer weather over here is obviously very brutal. It's like 110 Fahrenheit. Sometimes it reaches even more. So now it's kind of like cooling off. Fall weather kind of like reaching over here, which is good. All right. Charles is from India. Great. All right. So if you don't know me, my name is Muhammad Azam, and I am the creator of and the person behind Azam Sharp School. This is where I host my courses. I also do have a blog, azamsharp.com. You can visit that. On my on this particular website, I host my courses. So the most recent one is the Superbase for iOS developer. That's the one that I publish. But you can see I have a lot of different courses on several different technologies related to iOS development. And you can buy the course with the price you see over here, or you can just become a member. I think most people end up being a member, and they also get access to the monthly Q&A. I'm also doing workshops. So if you're interested in a live 3-hour hands-on workshops, you can check out the workshops page. These are live workshops over Zoom. You'll do a lot of activities. So they're really good actually. I mean, 3-hour workshop on Swift data, introduction to testing, and even Superbase. That's coming up in October. All right. So that's a little bit about myself. And now I would like to ask you if you have any questions, you can just go ahead and put it in the chat, and I'll be more than happy to take a look at it. And if I have the answer, I'll obviously also share my thoughts. All right. Let's see over here. And you can use the YouTube chat feature for this live stream to ask any question. Your questions can be, iOS related, that's fine, career related also. I teach for a boot camp, so whatever I give to my students in a boot camp, I can share those advice for you also. So career related questions if you have, or iOS related questions, that's perfectly fine. Anything is anything is fine. I can try my best to answer those. All right. Okay, let me see on Twitter. So Andre Freeman is asking, do you feel that Apple is teasing AI technology far in advance of the release? Was a good or bad thing for Apple and for developers? So I haven't really used Apple, you know, I haven't really used Apple's AI Assist feature yet. Um, do I feel like Apple is teasing AI technology far in advance of the release? Was a good or bad thing, both for Apple and for developers? Um, I think that's how they get the feedback. Uh, like if you remember Swift one, the Swift language, one and probably even two was a little bit shaky, but then things started to kind of like turn around after developers started giving feedback in Swift 3, Swift 4, 5, and 6 become a little bit more stable. So probably they're doing the same thing. They have certain experience, certain tests that they have run with Apple Assist and all the Apple AI features. I haven't really checked out any of those features, by the way. I just watched some videos. Um, but I think once they get it in public early, they can get the feedback and then iterate over the feedback and make it more better. I usually, I know it's kind of weird. I don't really use these kind of shortcuts even in Xcode. Uh, I I just do things manually, right? I mean, I know that there are now uh, editors like Cursor editor. I haven't used it, but it's all about AI and all that stuff. It kind of bothers me, so I don't really use those things. I'm more of a minimalist. I know it's like some people enjoy those things, but I just try to do most of the stuff like myself. I don't really take AI help to finish my sentences. I will take AI help to refactor my code, but not for those kind of things, you know. So, so I think for some developers, it might be a really handy feature. Definitely if you're making some sort of a dummy data. But for me, I'm more of like I'll just do it kind of like manually kind of the person. Charles has a question, how to manage multiple section in list view like UI kit table view. So it's been a while since I worked with table view, but if you are managing multiple sections, right, there is a delegate function called number of sections, something like that, and you have to return the true, like the actual number of sections over there, so you get multiple sections. And your data has to be arranged in such a way, the data that you're feeding or the data that is driving the UI list view, it has to be arranged in such a way that the section, when you correspond to section number one, in the data, it also corresponds to that particular set of data. So data in UI kit table view is very important. I may have some, I'm just going to go on YouTube and maybe on a different screen table view sections. I'm sure I did some video on table view sections, creating an unfolding blah, 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 loading view. I know I did it, to-do list, list sections. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So here's one video that kind of comes up. This one, it's saying to-do list app with Swift UI and sections. And it's kind of hard to see, I know, but you can see that I have different section, right? Over here, I have a pending section of a to-do list and a completed section of a to-do list. So maybe this video will help. I can go ahead and share it with you, and we'll call it to-do app in Swift UI with with list and sections. There we go. So hopefully this will help. Then Ned has a question. Hi Mohammed, interested in your Angular course. I have tried this commercially, but we did not ship. Angular course or Node course, Ned? I don't really have an Angular course, so maybe you are referring to the Node development course. I don't really have an Angular course, Angular framework course. I have never done that. So, okay, then Duang, thank you. I want to ask about advice to start as a Udemy instructor. Okay, that's an interesting question. So you want to start as a Udemy instructor. Um, yeah, I started with Udemy probably 2016 or end of 2015. Now, Udemy is a kind of a tough market, and I don't know like if you're trying to do iOS development videos or not. Um, I think it's a great starting point because when you don't have your audience, you can always use Udemy, and Udemy has like millions of users. So you can always use Udemy to market your courses. Now, the thing about Udemy is you, um, you know, the thing about Udemy is that your pricing is very low over there. So probably your course is going to sell for like 10 or $12. And depending on how you sell your courses, Udemy itself may take like 80 to 90% of it. So if you sell your course on Udemy um, through the advertisement from Udemy, like maybe they put out some Facebook ads and people use that Facebook ad to buy the course, then Udemy gets to keep 90% of the profit and you get like $2. But if you use your own coupons to sell your course, then you get like 90% of the profit. And in Udemy, it's more about, um, you know, quantity that you are selling. Now, if you want to get started on Udemy, obviously you should have some sort of a course outline. And one of the great things you can do with ChatGPT is you can actually create a course outline using ChatGPT. So here's ChatGPT, right? And oops, not this one, this screen. Okay, so I'm on the ChatGPT and I can simply say, write a course outline for introduction to Swift language. There we go. Maybe it will come up with some sort of outline. And there we go. It comes up with an outline. And you can use this outline. I mean, for introduction to Swift language. So I definitely use ChatGPT just to get an idea of the course outline sometimes. And you can see that it's just going on and creating a kind of like a course outline for the whole course. And you can follow the same outline. Obviously, you'll need to have the content and everything. I would also advise you to just start building. If you're building on Udemy, if you're recording video courses, just start building. You don't need like a $1,000 mic and the whole room has to be like a studio. I have a normal size room. The sound you're hearing, I mean, it's literally, I use this Apple wired ear plugs, whatever, ear pods, whatever you want to call it. This is the one that I use to record courses, and I've been using it for like 7 years, recorded over 100 courses. So you don't really need like a $10,000 mic. You can just use like a normal things to get started. And your first course will be like it will not be good, which is okay, but at least you will have something, and then you'll keep on improving and learning things and learning things. But I think the first thing is find the course that you want to teach, and you should be passionate about that course. Create an outline and just start going through it. Maybe you're working on this course about Swift language and you're covering enums and optional, then okay, create like some sample code for it, go through it, explain it. And that's how it works. It's small steps every single day. And after a couple of weeks, maybe months, you will have a course, depending on how frequently you're recording. All right. So that's my advice. You don't really need any special equipment. Whatever you have, whatever mic you have, whatever computer you have, you can get started. All right, so Ned is saying interested in your Node course. I've tried commercially, but we did not ship. Yes, Node course. I already have a Node course on Udemy, but I think you're referring to the new course that I am planning right now. So those of you don't know, I am currently planning out a course. Let me see if I can find that tweet. Yes, this is maybe what we're talking about. I tweeted a little bit earlier that I am planning out, zoom in a little bit, I'm planning out a brand new course for building an e-commerce application using swiftui as a front end and Node and Express and Postgres as a back end with Stripe integration. So currently I'm just trying it out. Like what's just, haven't really recorded anything yet, but I'm still trying it out. All right. So hopefully I will probably do like a preview of this course, or as soon as I record something, I'll just put it out. So it will be available on azamshark.school. So everyone will be, well, if you buy the course or you're a member, you'll be able to watch it instantly as I put out the content. So you don't have to wait for months for me to complete this course, because this is obviously a big course. It's going to take some time to complete. All right. So I haven't even started working on it. I'm still kind of like planning it. Yeah. Okay. Adrian is asking, what usually do you do in your project GCD or NS operation queue? Uh, GCD, I think now most of my projects are async and await, right? So I'm just using the task-oriented programming or async and await features with Swift 5 or 6 whenever it was introduced. It's been a while since I've actually done any GCD, dispatch queue and all those things. All of those things, I've just replaced it with async and await. Charles is saying, I only know Swift, but I also learned backend development. Which language do you recommend for backend development without Swift? Okay, so there are so many different options you have, right? I mean, backend development, if you want to do it, uh, the choices are literally unlimited choices. So what works for me may not work for you, but for backend development, uh, if you are using Swift, so you're saying, what language do you recommend for backend without Swift? Without Swift, if you don't want to use Swift, again, it's a choice. All of them will provide some, there will be, maybe you'll like it, maybe you'll not. I use Express.js, and the reason that I use Express.js is because I teach web development for a company called Digital Crafts, the full stack web development. So since I teach Express.js and Node.js and Postgres, I find Express.js to be easy to use. So I use Express.js, but it's based on minimalist framework for Node. It's obviously JavaScript. It's nice and simple to use. That is what I usually use when I'm doing backend development. But your choices are literally unlimited because you have what is it, Flask. You can use Spring Boot. What is that? Spring Boot from Java. I mean, so Flask is for Python, Spring Boot, I mean, ASP.NET MVC, Ruby on Rails, Django, PHP. I mean, the choices just goes on and on forever. Just pick one, learn one framework, and then I think once you learn one framework like Express.js or anything, then it will be easy to jump around to different frameworks if you need to. Now, even in JavaScript, there is Express.js, there's like Dino, there is Fast API, right? I mean, I don't know anything about Fast API, but there's just so many different variations of these things. So the reason that so I use Express.js, but it's up to you. I mean, whatever you want to use it. Thanks. How about the length of the course? So it's a continuation of the question for the Udemy question. So Duang Tang is asking, how about the length of the course for the new one? I feel I shouldn't be long. Yeah, it's an interesting question because on Udemy, the courses that actually do well usually are longer courses. All right. So, and if you go to Udemy, you'll find most of the courses. Now, this is not true for every single course, obviously, but if you go on Udemy, you will find that courses that are doing well, I mean, even on the homepage, this is 25 hours, 26 hours, okay, 3 hours, and 6 hours. So it's kind of like mixed over here a little bit, I guess. But on Udemy, what I have learned over the course of whatever 7 years or whatever is usually courses that do well are bigger, longer courses. So if I search for iOS development over here, so over here you can see this course from Angela is what, 60 hours. This is my course, this is 70 something hours. Then we have 32 hours. Then we have 51 hours, 34 hours. Now, of course, it doesn't matter that the smaller courses are not worth it. Some people will buy a smaller course, but usually the trend is the longer the course, people look at that course and people are like, oh wow, I'm gonna get like 70-hour course for like $10. I'm gonna get this one, right? So now, I would say when you're starting, start small. I mean, if you can cover the whole thing in like 3 hours, that's fine. Just start small, just produce some course, and maybe you will after that you'll start learning some stuff. I think usually my courses are usually around 8 to 10 hours long. If I'm doing it on Udemy or even on my own website, it's kind of like around that mark. Gabriel is asking that, do you believe having a Vision Pro device is essential for learning and testing Vision OS apps? Do you see a future for this platform? I don't have a Vision Pro device, but I think that you can easily test some of the aspects in the simulator itself. You do need M1 or M something device. I mean, a machine. You cannot run the simulator or even download the framework on your Intel Mac. So that's one of the requirement is you have to have a Apple Silicon to work with the simulator. Um, Apart from that, I am sure that there will be some cases where you cannot run it on the simulator, but I would say 80% of the time, you can just use the simulator to do whatever testing you need. Is there a future for this platform? I mean, it's new, it's still new, very early stages. It has to be so much trimmed down that it should be indistinguishable with the glasses that I'm wearing right now, these glasses. And I don't know if we're going to reach there in the next 5 or maybe not even 10 years. So, but that's just me. I mean, that's what I want to see. I just want to wear these kind of smart devices or smart glasses outside in the real world and not inside the house. But yeah, but I think that's the future I see, but that's like not in the near or not even in the far future. That's like far, far, far future. Ned is saying, yes, that's it, using Angular with Node.js with a web view as a front UI. Okay, used Angular with Node.js, web view, the front UI. Yes. Yes, I'm still researching on the course for swiftui for e-commerce application where the backend will be created using Node.js and, you know, backend will be creating with Node.js and Postgres. Aditya Raj is saying, sir, can you please help me with should I learn DSA or web dev? Well, DSA, data structures algorithms, even though we may not use it regularly in your projects that you're working on, but this becomes an essential if you're applying for companies, especially one of the large companies like FANG companies like Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple, because they love asking these questions related to data structures and algorithms. So it's different because we don't really practice it every single day. So that's why you will have to practice data structures and algorithm. And one of the books to practice the data structure algorithm is called the Cracking the Coding Interview. I'm going to put the link right there. Web development, I mean, yes, the web development you should definitely learn, or I mean, depending on if you want web development or iOS development, but web development you should definitely learn because full stack web development, I think it's one of those things that are equally kind of spread out everywhere. So it's not like you will have to live in San Francisco to work on iOS application. Like iOS jobs are very much like region wise. They're available region wise, like they're in San Francisco, Seattle, maybe New York. But like where I live, there's no native iOS going on. There's mostly Xamarin, React, these kind of technologies are going on over here. But web development, I think, is one of those things that are equally spread out everywhere. All right, so definitely do learn web development. There are many courses on Udemy, or read a book about web development. It's a lucrative field, meaning you can make a lot of money in web development. Learn React, Express, or Node, some sort of a backend system, front end. Become a full stack developer, basically. All right. Thoughts on the future of mobile dev jobs with the new AI tools? I think AI tools, so this is a question from Noah. So AI tools definitely help to get your work done, to get the work done faster, but I don't really see them changing or replacing developers because I think it's the same thing that we talked about when people started when there was a testing framework. I think it was called Fitness or something. Not Fit, this one. There was a framework called Fitness, where you can write your test in a nice text file in the English language. And when it came out, everybody was like, oh, yeah, now I can finally show these tests to my manager and they can even change the test. They can understand the test. But no manager is interested in running the test or even looking at the test. It's not their concern. So all of those assumptions that we made, they were basically wrong. And I think the same thing we're doing with AI is going to replace the jobs. I mean, if it's going to replace a developer, who's going to know where to put that code? And maybe they're okay, or they will be able to run like some minimal amount of code, but in large organizations, you have business needs and processes and domain logic and all of those things. It will be very hard to understand these things. And I think if this was even possible to replace developers with AI, then it would have been done like decades ago. I mean, maybe AI was not there at that point, but a lot of other like code and GitHub, you can just get the code from GitHub. You can just do this. You can just do that. So I don't think AI is going to replace developers, but AI is just going to be used as a tool to assist developers to maybe write better code. Gabriel is asking, with so many channels available today, do you believe starting a new YouTube channel 2024 is still worth the effort? I think it's always in programming or in development. Some part of it is your technical capabilities or your technical abilities. Then the remaining part, maybe like 20%, is your soft skills or your people skills as well as your marketing skills. So it's important that you're spending a lot of time in your technical skills, but also making sure that you're marketing your own worth. So this can be done by writing articles or creating videos. So I think it's always a good time to to market yourself as a developer or to create a YouTube channel, because everyone has a different teaching style and everyone has a different learning style. So maybe somebody will come to my YouTube channel, they might see some videos, but they couldn't understand what I'm talking about. They can always go to some other person and they can understand it better. Just like there are so many apps in the App Store, but that one app that's catered towards me. But apart from that, yeah, marketing yourself as a developer, putting some sort of a content out there, like it can be articles, publish articles on wherever, your own website or on Medium, or just YouTube videos. I think some sort of a way to just push yourself out there so the world will know you. I think that definitely helps a lot. All right. Okay, and then we have Charles. How can I become a professional iOS developer? What are the topics covered? Well, professional iOS developer or becoming a professional developer, it in the end it's just about, getting better every single day, like learning something every single day. This is a good topic, and I think I was listening to some podcasts yesterday. They were discussing the same thing, and I was thinking that maybe this is a good topic to cover in in one of the sessions, or do a session on this topic, like how to become a better developer. And the whole thing of better developer is to just, when you're writing code, you should not be married to the code. You should always be flexible enough to change it, and taking advice from other people, validating the advice, because sometimes you will get advice and that might not work out, but you have to be open to advice from other people for better solutions. And then you can obviously learn and incorporate those solutions in your code. I think another thing is just reading other people's code. The great thing about one of the places is Stack Overflow, right? I think Stack Overflow is is a great website. If I simply search for swiftui, oh boy, here we go. I never get it right actually. Let's see. Did I? Okay. So Stack Overflow, obviously a website where you can post questions, and I always think that this is just a great place for you to learn. If you simply put in the tag that you want to follow, like Swift UI, you can click on, anything like this one. Okay, somebody is having problem with the navigation link. You can read this problem, it's code, and try to solve it. And if you solve it, you post the answer. Now, the good thing about this is what I call win-win-win. If you solve it and you post the answer, then the person who is asking the question, which is Brandon, he gets the answer. So that's a win for him. You get the point and the answer check mark. So it's a win for you. But even if you don't get the correct answer, or maybe your answer is rather complicated, then somebody else will come in and with their answer and you learn something. So that's another win, right? So win-win-win situation in this case. So I love these kind of things. And when I had time, like I've talked about like lots of years ago, I was spending a lot of time on these forums, not on Stack Overflow because it wasn't there at that time when I was coding for like .NET stuff. I was spending a lot of time with ASP.NET forums, official forums, and answering a lot of questions over there. And that's how I learn. I learn from researching finding other people's problems, and then posting it. And then sometimes my answers were not good, but I can always read other people's answer, and now I learn something new. All right, so that's how you become a better developer. Um, Keeping things simple, learning, reading books, reading code, and doing these things repeatedly over the course of years and maybe even decades. All right. Will you be getting the new iPhone 16? No, I am, again, I don't really use or, not use, but I mean, I use iPhone, but I don't buy any new things until I actually need something. I just got my iPhone 14. I use iPhone 14 only because they gave it, like the company, whatever, AT&T or something, when I signed up for with them like maybe 6, 8 months ago. They gave it to me for free. I was using iPhone SE with the one with the home button. So even though yeah, I create like technology courses and all that, I am never really latest with the technology. I Yeah, if it's up to me, I would replace it all the devices with like a dummy phone. But obviously, I need smartphone for commuting, for GPS kind of things. So that's why I just carry it. But if I think if it's my choice, I would just use like a dummy phone. You know. All right. All right. Let's see over here. And kind of troubles. All right. Any other questions? Let me actually double check over here on Twitter. Okay. And by the way, you can follow me on Twitter also. My Twitter handle, I mean, if you're on Twitter, you can follow me over there. Let me see if I can actually grab my Twitter handle. Is it Twitter? I know it's called X. I still call it Twitter. This should be my Twitter stuff. All right. And recently I have been posting. Well, actually, I started to post. Let me actually show you the video. Where is it? Let's see. View on YouTube. There we go. So this is the, yeah, so I think I'll have a link over here somewhere. So this is the one that I just posted, I think yesterday. swiftui networking, fetch data from an API. And I'm going to put a link to this. This is a good video to watch if you are doing anything with Swift data, Swift, not Swift data, sorry, uh, fetching data in a Swift UI app. So this is the first video available. The second one will be available next week, where I show you how to do a post request. So definitely wait for that one. I mean, and you'll see the simplicity, like when you are using Swift UI, you'll be able to see that how simple you can actually make things. All right. So right over here, you can see using coffee store and all that stuff. Apart from that, if you are interested in reading my articles, you can always go to azamsharp.com articles. I've written a lot of different articles over here, so you can definitely read those things. Return type was throwing error. So Noah is saying, I saw looking at your networking layer, the generic one. What's your take on return the result type versus throwing errors? Let me see if I can find I think it should be over here. So this is the networking layer I think we're talking about, right? What's your take on returning the result type versus throwing errors? Um, well, I guess it depends at what point you are returning and what point you are throwing the errors. In some cases, I am throwing errors because there's not much that can be done. I think right over here when there's and I'll share this with you. So this is my HTTP client that I implemented. And this is the one that I use. I mean, it's more of like a generic client for my needs. So it's not like a complete thing. You can modify it to whatever way you want. It's just a more of a generic thing that I'm using. So it might not be suitable for your cases, but it is suitable for my case. And yeah, so I have updated this multiple times, and a couple of different places now I'm throwing, well, over here, like I'm throwing error if the status code is something else. Over here, I'm throwing error if there's a decoding. And yeah, if I do get the result type, then I return the result type. But I can return null over here, but then null is not really going to provide me much information in those cases. So and yeah, and I maybe you're talking about the actual result type, like result over here. Maybe this one, result type. So I'm using async and await. So I'm not really using the result type that is built in. I'm just using async and await. All right. All right. And yeah, I have some couple of different articles you can definitely check out. I think my longest article probably is this one, which is the building large scale applications in swiftui. This is the one that goes into a little bit more into architectural stuff. So you can definitely check that one out. And I've been experimenting with navigation patterns, global sheets, and I think I have another one coming up, which is on communication patterns. I haven't really written that yet, but that is something I need to work on. But navigation patterns, global sheet, maybe. So these are all good good articles to read. Maybe you will use these things, but I mean, it starts simple. So when you're starting simple, you may not need any of this stuff. But as your app grows and grows and grows, then maybe at that time you're like, okay, I need a much simpler solution rather than just using like 20 sheets everywhere or modals everywhere. So that kind of helps you out over there. All right. All right. Any other question? Apart from that, couple of different announcements. Do iOS conference, and by the way, I'm not associated with this conference, Do iOS 2024. This is a conference in Amsterdam in their workshops on November 12th, and the conference is on November 13 and 14. A lot of great speakers. I'm also speaking over there, but you can see there's speakers over there. This will be in November in Amsterdam. So if you ever wanted to visit Amsterdam, or if you want to attend a conference, so this is one of those really good conference with workshops as well as sessions. And you can see the speaker lineup is pretty good. And if you're looking for more adventure, there's another conference called Arctic Conference. This is the first time they're hosting this conference, and I believe it is in Finland. And there are some speakers over here also. You can see Ben, he's a local Estonian. I went to college with Ben. And Aurelis is a founder of Audio Kit, so they're one of the speakers. I've applied for this conference, so let's see. But this is a Finland. I think there's a place. This is a place called Oulu. Let's see, Oulu. Yeah, there we go. City of Oulu. There we go. And it looks kind of like an amazing city, all covered with snow and ice. But this is another conference, and I'll add the link over there if you're interested. Again, I'm not associated with these conferences. I'm just putting a link out there, so maybe you will find them interesting and visit those conferences. All right. Any other conferences that actually you all want to mention? I know that there's another conference called, and I always remember, iOS Singapore conference. I think it's called SIG iOS. Yeah, iOS conference SG. This is another conference on 15 to 17 January 2025. Oops. Oh, okay, I'll just. So these are all the conferences that are kind of like coming up in the next few, next few months and all that. We have these speakers over here. iOS developer, Kristen Selig, Donnie Walls, Christoph, really good speakers. And then we have volunteers list, organizers. All right. And that's in Singapore. So this is obviously, if you're in US, it's a big trip, long trip, but hey, Singapore, one of the really nice places. All right. Bito is saying hello everyone. Hello Bito. Any other questions that I can answer? Let's see over here. There we go. It's possible to ask a question about Swift 6 and strict concurrency. You definitely can ask questions about that. I haven't really worked that much with Swift 6 and strict concurrency. I did turn it on my project, and it didn't really give me any issues. And probably the reason is that most of the time I was just using structs. So when you use a struct, obviously you don't really get any issues regarding that. But I can definitely suggest, let me actually see, Donnie Walls. He has talked a lot about concurrency, recent articles. Let's see over here. There we go. Actually, there's some recent articles. Actually, a lot of articles he's talking about concurrency. See that? So that will be a good point to do that. And I think Donnie also does workshops for concurrency stuff, and he has books also on async await and all the concurrency stuff. All right. All right. All right, everyone. Any other questions that I can answer? All right. Well, thank you so much for everyone for coming. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. If you want to get more information, you can always check out my website, azamsharp.school. This is where I host my courses and my workshops. And, you can definitely check it out, see the list of courses and the workshops available. And hopefully that you will enjoy those. Okay. And we'll do this every week, not next week, but we will do this Ask Me Anything session. I try to do this every week so that we can connect, and I will be able to answer some questions. All right. So if you don't have any other questions, we're going to wrap it up, and I will see you next week. Thank you.